Words can create worlds. What makes for good writing? We'll find out today on Into the Words. Welcome to Into the Words. I'm your host, Mr. McGrath. We have a personal narrative today from Keating, a personal narrative, and we're going to look at a lot of this, but let's just jump right in and read The Breaking of the Finger. One summer evening, when I was 6, my family went out to a restaurant in Savannah, one of those that are plopped right on the edge of the marsh. We pulled into a gravel and oyster shell parking lot with a bridge leading to the restaurant. My family and I walked across the bridge to the restaurant. I broke off and ran towards my aunt and uncle, whom I'd only met once before at a birthday party because they live in Denver, Colorado. When I got to the table, I took the canvas bag that was on my right shoulder. I rummaged around for my book, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and set it at the seat I wanted so nobody else could sit there. Then I ran over to a pavilion that was held up by wooden poles. I found my brother Finn there playing a game where you try to toss a hook hung from a piece of twine and get it stuck in a ring that was anchored into one of the poles. I asked Finn if I could try. Finn said yes and gave me the hook. I tried to get it hooked in the ring, but I failed miserably. Throwing it too hard, it came back to me and pow! It hit me in the nose. Fatal injury! But no blood. That was only the first of my injuries that evening. After that, I walked over to the bocce court. Finn followed me. There was this other kid Finn had already met and made friends with in the short time that we had been there. We started playing bocce with me as the referee. I was picking up some stray balls that had rolled away when the kid I didn't know rolled a ball at me. It ran crack into my left ring finger. Oh, whoa, Keating cries, his poor little miserable heart out. Finn ran off to tell my mom, and in moments, my family came running over to where I was. My mom had a paper towel with ice in it, which she put on my finger, keeping the swelling down so it wouldn't hurt as bad. We drove off to the ER, and my mom and dad stayed with me, but my brother stayed at the restaurant with my grandma. This was because we still had our aunt and uncle there, and it seemed like a waste to get there, talk, demolish finger, and leave, neglecting them. When we got to the ER, we had to wait for only about 5 minutes. My name was called and we went in. There was a very nice doctor named Jerome who was attending me that night. He was very funny and nice about my finger. Jerome even told me, "Aha, now thou cannot pick thou's nose with thou's finger." It took me 2 weeks to get back to normal, except that my finger is forever square and will never be normal again. Oh, woe is me. After that, I did not have any more major accidents for a couple of years, except for the time that... Well, what a tremendous personal narrative. My goodness, I could go on for quite a while about all the things that Keating does here so well, right from the title. You know, the art of the title here, he has perfect. That it's called The Breaking of the Finger, which means we're talking about something that is relatively minor injury, right? Painful, but in the course of things, relatively minor. And yet he's going to treat it with a lot of weight in a comical way. And we see that just from the title, which is, you know, like The Last of the Jedi, The Making of the President, The Breaking of the Finger. So a big thing to bring out here is the sense of voice. And look how he maintains this voice with word choice. So the restaurant isn't just on the edge of the marsh, it's plopped right on the edge of a marsh, using a more active, interesting verb to describe just the location. And when he goes to look for his book, he doesn't just grab it or get it. He rummaged around in his canvas bag for his book. See, so the way you establish your voice is, in part, by your word choice, and including these details that he sets the book at the seat. Another thing to note here, how he builds a nice story arc. We have this exposition at the beginning, arriving at the restaurant, blah, 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 playing this game. We have the foreshadowing. We have foreshadowing in where he bonks his nose with the ring, but isn't seriously injured just yet, even though he cries out, "Fatal injury." So that's another example of developing that comic voice in the telling of how I got hurt. So many things Keating does right here, brings it up to a climax, and then we have the resolution going to the ER, and of course the falling action where he says, well, leading into what might be the next story, that he stayed injury free for a couple of years, except for the time that. Well, I hope you see how to put together a personal narrative that holds off the crux of it, the injury, or whatever your story's about, holds it off for a little bit, set things up first, and then give us the juice with a lot of verve and voice. And with that, you can become a better writer. Thanks for joining me today on Into the Words, and I'll see you next time we decide to go into the words. Would you like your writing to be featured on Into the Words, young writer? Send it to jamie.mcgrath@sccpss.com.